You can see there's the marker. Lower beat, middle beat. I'm right at the top of the lower beat, which is my bit of water for the day. I've fished this river on and off for about 15 years now. It could be said I know the water a bit. But of course, in this Fate River, every winter the floods change the character of the pools. Where you think you know where the fish lie, they might not anymore. The water's a little bit deeper and darker on that far bank. And that's where we'll be putting a fly in, a lure in. As the day goes by, I brought 2 rods, a double-handed rod with a heavy line on and a bigger lure, and I've brought my little 5-weight single-handed rod. Oh, if the grills aren't playing, Salmon and Sea Trout. Tried that myself. I think you can tell it's meant to be a little bit like a sort of a flamethrower type of thingamabobby. Let's see whether that does anything. I've seen a little sea trout jump. You can tell it's the first trip out with a double-handed rod this year because I keep catching the trees. Casting's a bit rusty. Very light fly that, just bounce around a little bit in the current. If there's anything down there, with a bit of luck it'll have it. Right, I'm sat in Boo's bothy, trying to get rid of sludge. With this low light, I really ought to be perhaps making my way back down and getting the smaller rod and trying for a sea trout, and maybe have a go for the salmon a little bit later in the morning. I'll fish it down anyway, back to the hut and the car, and then I'll come back up. This really sort of fishes in 2 halves, this beach. There's 2 pools in the top and 2 in the bottom, and there are smaller runs in between where fish will lie. I'll give this a little run through. I've just disturbed the dipper from getting its breakfast, so I might as well fish it through now I've done that, and see if there's anything down there. Okay, so setting up the single-handed rod now. Now, how I normally fish with this is I've normally got a a little bit of 3.5 kilo line, about 1.5 meters, 2 meters long, and to that I usually attach a leader of 4-pound bracket strain line. And I'm fishing the 3.3 kilo straight through, and the reason for that is, whilst that's a little trout fly that might catch me a sea trout, it can also hook a salmon. Migratory fish aren't normally leader shy. They're not feeding when they're in fresh water. So there's every chance that if there's a fish and I don't know what it is, do we aggravate them into snapping at the fly? They're not hungry. What is it, I wonder? Why is it sometimes that they're more likely to grab at a fly and other times just completely ignore it? One of life's mysteries, eh? I'm not sure. I think that's an Invicta. Not quite sure. But it's got the blue, the silver, a little bit of black, and that red tail. And I'm rather hoping that a sea trout might like that. Now the sea trout here generally are a reasonable good size. I've not caught one here under 2 pound, and I have caught them over 3. Not the monsters that some of the searing that the Welsh anglers get. I'm more than happy with something that size today. Let's go on back up to the top of the beat and try again. Trying not to fall over the tree roots. Winter storms have changed this bit tremendously. I've done no good at all on the top half of the beat, either with the double-handed rod or the single-handed rod. So thought I'd come down and have a look at the bottom, see what the changes have been. The ubiquitous willy gun fly on. Looks nice where these bits of water meet, but it's very shallow. I'd hoped the storms might have scoured out a bit of a hole, but I don't think so. I'll have a look. Oh, we've got sunshine now, which is not really what we want. Another little fly. I tied myself on a small double, sort of a cascadey, flamethrowery kind of thingamajobby. A little bit of rain overnight. I think this water has actually gone up a little bit, like an inch or so since I've been here. It's clean water, not dirty. So you never know. It might even encourage something to move up the river a little bit. As you can see, it's quite a small river. Very much a spate river. It can go up and down a foot overnight. Makes it fishing quite interesting. Apart from a small sea trout and some little baby brown trout jumping about, I've seen nothing. This is a deeper pool. I'd have thought if a fish had run on the tide last night, it'd come up the river a bit. It's probably the first place where they could stop in deep water and have a rest. I'll fish it through, see how we get on. Most of this river is only a couple of feet deep. This hole here is about 8-10 feet. So this would definitely class as a holding pool. I'm spending quite a bit of time sitting and watching today. The fishing ought to be inspiring me, because I think the river is actually still coming up a little bit. It's not dirty. I think there's some rain in the glens. And certainly the river's not going down. It might be maintaining its height. I'm just not seeing any signs of any fish to give me any enthusiasm, and I'm desperately short of that at the moment. The sun's gone back in again, it's just tried raining. Overcast, warm, muggy. Oh, the fish, really ought to. I've worn out wafting that big double-handed rod about. So we're back on the old 5-weight single-hander. The fly, I've got no idea actually. That's not one I made, it's actually one I bought somewhere. Mostly black with a little bit of green sort of shiny body to it. Somebody will tell me what it is. Right, let's go and have a wander up the top and actually try catching a fish. The bankside erosion. That bit I was walking across all the way up the river is actually only being held up by those roots. The river's washed the bank away underneath. Oh, that's 7.5 hours. Not a sniff. Not a pull. Not even seen a fish. I've seen a small trout, but I haven't seen any salmon. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go home, have some lunch, might even have a sleep. Seeing as how I was up at 3 o'clock. And see whether I fancy coming back later. Because I can fish for 24 hours. So from 6 AM this morning till 6 AM tomorrow morning. Certainly not got the strength to fish all night at the moment. So I think what we need is a rest. So I'll say goodbye for now. Indeed, I might wind the video up. And if we do come back later, we can always start another one. Night fishing for sea trout. Because I'm afraid day fishing for salmon was a bit of a failure. But they do say it's not how many fish do you catch per trip, and how many trips do you make before you catch a fish. I can't remember when I last caught a salmon. It's before COVID, so it's more than 5 years ago. I really ought to try harder, I suppose. Okie dokie, bye for now. It's been a nice day in nice surroundings, but I'm beat.